Hi everyone, it's Roger and James here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we've got quite a lot to be talking about. We're going to be talking about 20th Century Studios and Fox Searchlight, having kind of their Fox names taken away. We're going to be talking about a lot of new shows and stuff going on because it's been the Television Critics Association press week for the winter. So it's been like a week of loads of information coming out. So we're going to go through that. We'll be talking about our thoughts on Diary of a Future President. And yeah, just in general, we've got quite a few bits and pieces on the list. We'll be talking a little bit maybe about, I'll be talking a little bit about Peacock. We'll be talking about some of the trailers, including Stargirl and Morpheus and a few other bits and pieces. So before we go any further, just want to say a big thank you to everyone who is already subscribed to the channel, either on YouTube or also on podcast services. Yep, so if you subscribe, you kind of keep up with all the latest ones. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook group as well. We are literally just like a few thousand people away from hitting 100,000 members. So definitely want to be a member of that. And also a big thank you to our Patreons as well for supporting the show. So a big thank you to Andrew, also to Giuseppe, to Julie, to What's on Netflix, and also Ian. So yeah, big thank you to all of their support. Really does make a big difference to kind of making sure the podcast version continues on as it is. So without that, let's jump into some of the news. The big one really, I think, before we get into the Fox one, there was something that came up yesterday which I was waiting for overnight to see what was happening. There was a rumor that got circulated of an Obi-Wan Kenobi show being cancelled. Went right across the internet. People were messaging me. The trouble is, it came from a parody account of discussing film, and then it kind of blew up, and some of the websites were running the story, and then apparently Ewan McGregor's people have denied the issue and said it's all carrying on, and there's a load of other people going, well, I've been hearing stuff about it, but it's not really, and there was a load of rumors. It's been all over the place. It's kind of been shot down. Even the people that put out the initial tweet, I've even been apologizing about starting it. So yeah, it's just one big mess. This is the trouble sometimes with things like Twitter and stuff. It can spread around like wildfire before there's actually any credible evidence. I know quite often the amount of times you see on Twitter somebody trending, and everyone thinking someone's died, but no one hasn't died, and then there's people going, "Oh no, I thought you died," and that's making it trend even more. So, yeah, it's all fine. It just looked like that was just a wild rumor. Yeah, just one of those things. So let's jump into the big stuff. Fox. So Disney have apparently removed the Fox branding from 20th Century Fox and also Fox Searchlight. This went out, Variety reported on this first because staff that were getting emails and stuff, their email addresses changed to like 21st century or 20th Century Studios and to searchlightpictures.com. The emails had changed. I think like maybe their signatures had changed, and essentially they're just removing the Fox from the logos and from the branding overall, which has kind of got a lot of people. It's kind of one of those things of a lot of people kind of going, "Oh, this is dreadful. They can't get rid of it." And there's a load of other people going, "Yeah, it makes sense with not want to be connected to Fox." And then there's a load of there was some pictures circling around of 20th century pictures from like 1934 of the logo of what it was like before Fox was created, and it's one of those weird things with this name. If it's been around for what 85 years as it is, so we're very established to it. But the trouble is because Fox Entertainment exists with Fox News, Fox Channel, I think it's Fox Sports, etc. There is still this like interconnection between Fox and them. And I think there was something in the license where Disney can still use the 20th Century Fox logos and stuff because they've got the rights to it. But I believe it was a limited kind of thing of how there was only a few many years or something like that. But what did you think of them like dropping the Fox title?
I fall on the side that it was a little faster than I was expecting. We always knew it was going to happen because you need brand unity, and Disney's going to want everything to be Disney, Disney, Disney. I wasn't expecting it to happen quite this fast, but in retrospect, it does make sense for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. The Fox brand, the current Fox brand, the channels that still exist outside the Disney umbrella have a very specific slant to them, and Disney is taking a very different slant with their
Yeah.
with their offerings, so it makes sense to distance as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, 20th Century Fox has been around forever, long enough that even when it turned to 21st century, they're like, no,
It
we're
didn't work.
20th century. We've had 20th century for so long, we're just sticking with it.
Yeah, I think 21st Century Fox as a brand, that seems to be dead. They've kind of, that seems to have all gone. Because even like 20th, that was kind of like the thing. The company was 21st Century Fox, but they kind of were carrying on with it. The fanfare at the beginning is all supposed to be the same. You're still going to have the da-da-da-da, you know, and all the lights, because that's, you know, that's 85. They've brought that. I think it makes a lot of sense. First off, let's talk about first of all, like Searchlight. Searchlight, to me, this was the one I was expecting this to happen. It was like, it made the most sense just to drop the Fox off the front, turn it into Searchlight, and let this be the adult cousin of Disney, where they can, because if you looked at the official Disney Studios Facebook page, Twitter, even their official website, they never acknowledge anything that Searchlight do. Whenever a movie comes out over the last 6 to 8 months, when the movies are coming up, they never mention it. When all the award ceremonies all were getting announced, Jojo Rabbit never gets mentioned, or anything that wasn't by 20th Century Fox would be mentioned. Things like Ford versus Ferrari, Breakthrough, that was all being promoted through the main channels. Walt Disney Studios were promoting it, but anything under the Searchlight brand never gets mentioned by Walt Disney Studios. There's a very much like, you know, that is its own separate thing that we don't want interconnected with the Disney branding. And I think, for me personally, I think Searchlight is far better without that Fox title. It can do its own separate thing, and it allows Disney to maybe use that as its adult-orientated small indie films, stuff like that, and keep it away from the Disney branding. But they didn't even push the fact that they got the Oscar nominations. Disney kept there so far, which you'd think they would want to kind of push that, but they didn't.
No, it's funny they didn't push that. But for Searchlight, I think outside of film circles, like you know, people who follow films fairly closely, most people won't even notice the lack of Fox. You know, they noticed it when it was Fox Searchlight, like, oh, this is a Fox, so it's part of Fox. But dropping it, you know, it's Searchlight. Dropping 20th Century Fox to just 20th Century is a much bigger, oh wait, that's not how I remember it kind of thing.
Yeah, but I think it's like, if you've started off and you've got that logo at the beginning, because I think Disney are going to start using that as I think they're going to start using that as a brand. And I don't think they wanted to push it too much to begin with. I think it's going to become a brand like Marvel, where it's a separate entity, but it fits within the Disney banner, where it, because I think that's where I think you're going to start seeing that. I wouldn't even be at all surprised if we even have on Disney Plus, if that's even going to become a thing as one of the five, as you know, the five we've got. Whether once they've done the rebranding and they've got it out of the way, because I just don't think they wanted to put it out there to begin with. I could see that happening, where that becomes its own separate little mini brand within Disney, and everything safe gets released under that, as while they can kind of do more adult orientated stuff. It does feel like anything really adult orientated could be switched off to Searchlight a lot easier.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. It might not even end up on Disney Plus, though. It might be a Hulu thing. But we'll see. You know, all we know is the name changed. Really.
Yeah, for me, it's more. I think this is more about a thing of going forward of a branding. I think it might make more sense again with Hulu, of like, you know, like we've said before, like Disney have National Geographic and stuff, or as Hulu's going to start having Searchlight, FX, 20th Century Studios, ABC, Freeform as like a brand, almost like the opposite, the branding of like, these are the core things over here of what you're getting on Hulu. Because now you can, you know, you start looking at those brands and go, okay, that actually might start making more sense with what they're doing with Hulu. Event in like 2 years' time, of having those specific brands fit under the Hulu banner, which I think probably makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and like I said with the Fox name change earlier, I thought it was going to take a lot longer. So the Hulu swap, or however they're going to do Hulu, might happen faster than I expected to, because I was thinking on a fairly long timeline.
Yeah, I mean, we've got in some ways, beginning of a new year. This is the first year that they've got full control over it. There was reports, and I'm just going to bring up the name of the company that's also kind of interconnected with this as well. Of apparently Disney have and Fox have kind of come to terms of moving away. I'm just going to bring up the company here. Charmin Entertainment. They've been working with Fox for a long time, and they've split away from 20th Century Fox and Disney, and that apparently means that they've made 24 movies with them since they've been, including Hidden Figures, Ford versus Ferrari, Planet of the Apes franchise, and things like that. They were also involved in Underwater, Spies in Disguise. They've been involved in all like the big ones lately. And they've got over 70 projects from Fox are going to move over with that company to them that they were working on. And even that's basically not connected to an IP that Disney own is moving over. It's very much feels like there's been a bit of and I know they got rid of some international staff as well. There's been I think like a little bit of a Fox clear out like with the start of the new year.
Yeah, it's spring cleaning before spring even starts. There's not much else to stay on it until we see more.
Yeah, I definitely think like generally going forward with Fox, I think we're going to see a lot more changes with the branding, with them moving over and just sorting things out, because a lot of the projects they had lined up, they've cleared a lot out. They're looking at what they want to do with Fox. I mean, generally looks to me like Fox is becoming the core family. I wouldn't say family friendly stuff, but the stuff that falls under the big heavy hitting movies that don't have the Disney logo. I mean, it just looks like they're kind of lining that up, so they don't want them being ridiculously R-rated and stuff, but the Searchlight stuff is the one that they can get away with it a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you might as well use the brand for something, and you might as well do it for things that you can't do under your normal brand, because they still want to cover the whole market, and even if they don't mention it, it's also where the Oscars are.
Yeah, I also think as well. I do think Disney are aware that some big budget movies are useful to have under their branding, but the minute they slap the Disney logo on it, a certain audience will no longer watch it, and I think that's an issue as well. The minute it's like Disney Stargirl will have a different effect than if it was just Stargirl, of like people's expectations of what it is. So it's like if it said Disney Ford versus Ferrari, you might go into it very differently than what it would be where it's a 20th Century Studios Fox versus Ferrari.
That's absolutely true. If I saw Disney's Ford versus Ferrari, I'd probably be expecting something more along the lines of like a Herbie kind of movie. Feel good comedy, lighthearted. Whereas just Fox's or Searchlight's Ford versus Ferrari, I'm expecting a serious movie about this race that happened, continues to happen, but that specific event of the race, and you got some big name actors in it, so I expect a drama. Similarly, Stargirl, by putting Disney in front of it, I know this is probably going to be aimed at a younger audience. It's not going to be the DC character Stargirl who like 5 people know about, so
Oh, the confusion over that has really got me. So I think that's a good segue really to go into Stargirl. We got the new trailer for the new Disney Plus Stargirl movie, which is going to be coming on March 13th. We saw some pictures earlier in the week, and then the following day they put out the trailer, which just happened to be on the same day that the trailer for Stargirl from DC also broke. So the amount of people kind of going, this is not my Stargirl, and this is the wrong one, and people getting confused of just like, having 2 trailers called Stargirl come out at the same time, very different. I'll be honest. I kind of, the trailer for the movie, I sort of watched it and went, okay. I know it's a very popular book, and I know a lot of people are excited about it, but for me, it was just like, this is, I would almost say, it was like a chick flick kind of thing of like, this is something I would watch on Netflix with my wife, and that would be it. And I would never go out of my way to go watch a movie like this. It's got an audience. It's not for me. I am going to, obviously, we'll watch it, But yeah, for me the trailer was just like, yeah, okay, this isn't for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, what did you think of it?
Not a surprise. I don't think this is not
Yeah.
a movie for us. It's got that whole like you're in a rut, but here's the quirky girl to come and get you out of the rut kind of thing, and just like I don't have negative things to say about it, but I don't really have positive things to say about it either. It's just kind of it's there. I'm glad it'll be on Disney Plus. I'm glad that people will have a chance to watch it. I'm not the target audience.
No, the thing is as well is because obviously, I mean, I think they do show America's Got Talent here, but obviously I don't have that whole thing of the build up. I don't know this girl from before this thing came up. I'd never heard of her until she'd been announced to be in this show. So I've got no like knowledge of who she is before this, because I know that was a big thing of like a lot of people are excited to see what she's up to because of seeing her on Americans Got Talent. So I don't have that interconnection. She's just a random actress that's come up that plays a ukulele. I'll watch it. It should be good. I'm sure it's going to be very. The book apparently is very good. A lot of people are excited about it. But out of that and Timmy Failure, I'm more excited about watching Timmy Failure than Stargirl, and that's fine, you know. And I think we'll be saying the kind of similar kind of things about Diary of a Future President later on in the episode. But yeah, spoilers. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was solid. But it to me, it's definitely a kind of a Netflix sort of sit back and watch, and that's exactly what these movies are for. They're cheap to make. People like them, and therefore there is an audience, but the audience would not go to the cinema to see this. This would have come out of cinema and it wouldn't have pulled. I mean, it's that thing that we've got what 4 Disney Plus movies, or we've got 5 Disney Plus movies like within 5 months now, you know, and it is that kind of thing of like Togo stands above everything else on like a different level, and I'm hoping Stargirl and Timmy Failure kind of push that thing up a little bit of where the expectations lie. But Togo I think was so good that I kind of went, it's like, okay, now you've got to be at that level for me to kind of be like, okay, that beat Togo. But Stargirl, I don't know, just gonna have to wait and see. I mean, I might be completely wrong when I watch it.
We could be. I will say I did think of a positive thing to say here. It's nice to see Giancarlo Esposito in a positive role for once. He's best known for his parts in Breaking Bad and The Mandalorian. He was the villain at the end of The Mandalorian, so it was nice to see him doing
I thought too
it's him. Yeah, he's Moff Gideon.
Yeah. So that one there. So we're going to do another quick trailer thing. Morpheus, the new Marvel Sony movie. Now, obviously, this is not going to be coming to Disney Plus unless Disney kind of make out some new deals with Sony. But it's a Marvel movie, and it's also managed to kind of connect up with the MCU a little bit, because there was a cameo in it from the Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. And there was a little picture of Spider-Man from the PS4 video game. And it's kind of like, saw the trailer and it was like, that little connection with it. It's like, well, there is a crossover here with like it being Marvel. And it looked a lot better than I was expecting. I'm really now interested to see where this whole cross promotion comes in. Are they going to do the Sinister Six movie by doing it this way, doing Venom, Vulture, doing it that way around?
I kind of hope they don't, honestly. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, this movie could be the one that turns it around. Obviously, they make a big deal about the fact that they are the studio or the company that brought you Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home. And it's like, did you really? But technically they did. So we'll see, because this should be done almost entirely under the Sony banner. It is they're calling it a Marvel movie, but I don't think Marvel has a particularly big creative input into this. So it could turn into like another Venom situation. Now, I know a lot of people did like Venom, you included. I was bored to tears.
I think it was all right.
And but it was on that spectrum again. It was actually a very polarizing movie. I think there were a lot of people who were, no, this was a gigantic mess, and people who were like, it was a lot of fun. And he ate people, which is always a good time. I will say, just like Venom, the cast in this is very good. Jared Leto Uh, he got a little bit of a bad rap for his Joker portrayal in Suicide Squad over on the DC side. Justifiably so, I think. If he hadn't been the Joker, it would have been actually a really good performance, but he's the Joker, their expectations. But you've got other people like Matt Smith, former Doctor Who. J.K. Simmons is rumored to be reprising his J. Jonah Jameson role, which we saw him reprising again in Far From Home. So solid cast. It could be interesting. Part of it will also depend on how much the Vulture plays into it. I suspect not a very big role, but still, they dropped him in the trailer, so who knows?
I think also by dropping him in the trailer, there was that kind of instantly kind of like, yeah, this is in the Spider-Man sub-universe of some kind of, don't know. It looks all right. I'm wanting to see where it goes. I remember, for me, Morpheus, the only kind of thing I remember was the animated TV series, which is on Disney Plus, of when I was a kid. The vampire storyline was quite a big part of that animated series. I'd never heard of the character before, and I'll be honest, I don't think I've heard of the character really much since then either. Never seem to kind of pop forward as a main character lately.
They keep trying every once in a while. I know he had a comic series a couple years back. I don't think it last very long, maybe a couple of 6, 12 issues, something like that. They try every once in a while because, vampires don't really go out of fashion as much as we might want them to occasionally. So they try. And he's a vampire character who's both good and bad. You can write him either as a villain or as a hero, depending on what the story requires. So that gives him plenty of range. I want Blade to cameo, honestly.
It's an odd one because the only thing is, what was quite funny was this one. My wife watched the trailer, and I think for a while she did think it was Batman.
I can't actually. I mean, there's a lot of parallels with Morpheus. Obviously, his powers are supernatural rather than because he's afraid of bats or whatever. But and Jared Leto, you could definitely go, oh wait, is he the Joker just without makeup? I'm like, kind of. So I don't know.
I think because he's standing there, all the bats are flying around him, and he's testing on bats, and he's obviously the Joker. There was that kind of part of me that it was like, yeah, okay, I see where you're going. That's fair enough. I can see where that one came from. But yeah, I thought it looked good. I'm going to wait and see, but that's coming out this summer. Moving on from there, let's now talk a bit about some of the competition for Disney Plus, because a lot of news this week. Apparently, they've hit over 30 million downloads on iTunes and also on Google Play. It's going to be much higher than that, and numbers are going to be good. We should find out some of the numbers in a few weeks when we get the next financial results. But there's been a lot of noise this week because of all of the TCA press event, which includes lots of stuff about the competition. So first off, a little bit about HBO Max. They kind of announced a number of new shows. They announced what they're doing. They're kind of closing down a little bit of their Cinemax and some of the things of how they're doing their originals. All the originals for that Cinemax is disappearing, but they're going to carry on with the channel. They're in this weird bit where they kind of want the traditional television and the new one. There wasn't as much on the HBO side as I was expecting this week. The big one was Comcast kind of announcing a load of details on their new streaming service called Peacock. Now, before we go any further, just want to point something out in this next section. James can't actually discuss this section, so it's just going to be me. So, James, you're there, but unfortunately, I'm the only one that can talk about Peacock. Due to James's work commitments. So I am going to now give you a little bit of detail. So first off, it's going to be coming to Comcast Affinity X1 and Flex customers on April the 15th, before launching in the US on July the 15th. It's going to be putting a lot more pressure, obviously, on Disney and Hulu. I think definitely on the Hulu, because there's going to be a lot of cross things of shows coming across from there. They've got to have an ad-supported version and a non-ad supported version. If you are a Comcast subscriber, there's 24 million of you, you will get access to it. You get access to the ad version, I think, for free. And then there's also, you can upgrade for $4.99 a month or something like that to get the premium version, which has twice as much hourly content as like, the premium bundle is bundled at no additional cost to the 24 Comcast one. So if you've got Comcast already, you will get the premium version, sorry. But you can get the free version, and you can upgrade to the full priced version for like $9.99. So I think very good price, because you are going to get a lot of content. You're going to be getting a lot of TV shows like Law and Order. You're going to be getting Chicago Med. You'll be getting Yellowstone. You'll be getting 2.5 Men. You'll be getting 30 Rock, Frasier, King of Queens, Saturday Night Live, Parks and Recreation, The Office. I know that one's really popular. You're also going to be getting a lot of Peacock originals. They're working on a number of bits and pieces as well. You're going to be getting the late night shows a little bit earlier. You're going to be getting sports, like all the Olympic stuff. You're going to be getting Ryder Cup and Premier League content. You're going to be getting access to the film content from Universal, all of the 2020 movies from Universal, and upcoming movies such as Fast and the Furious 9, Jurassic World 3. You'll be having movies like E.T., Jaws, Despicable Me, Bridesmaids, Back to the Future, The Bourne, and Fast and Furious brands are all going to be on there. There's going to be kids content from DreamWorks, such as Trolls World Tour, The Boss Baby 2. You're going to have new series of things like Curious George. Also interesting here is where you're going to get some new original series called Trollstopia and Madagascar A Little Wild and The Mighty Ones. Interesting as well with that one. That one's also going to be coming to Hulu. Those free shows. There was, I think, obviously a little bit of, this is what we're going to see a lot with Hulu and Peacock. There's going to be a lot of cross kind of things because NBC is still technically an owner there. They're going to be bringing news to Peacock as well. Special news from not only NBC but also Sky. And yeah, they really kind of come out the gate really with a very strong offering. The whole thing of offering a free package and different prices and stuff. Very good price. I think a lot better pricing maybe than like HBO Max. I think the free option as well is going to bring a lot of people in. And then you can just upgrade to have the things. They are doing the day after content. They're going to be bringing that in as well. So after it's aired on NBC. The thing is, if you have the free version with the originals, you're only going to have access to select episodes. If you pay the full version, you have all the previous ones. So say, I don't know, whatever one they've got there, maybe they've only got the latest episode and then maybe the last one on there. So but I think having the free option, they're still very much wanting advertisers involved. They're not really pushing like how many numbers they're going to get, but I'm going to be honest, the fact that they do like this cheap free option, I think is going to be a lot higher than maybe where their predictions are stating, because you give away something for free or next to free, it's going to bring a lot of people in. But this is all part of the big streaming wars of 2020, because you're going to have Disney on one side, HBO, Comcast, CBS, and Netflix and all the rest of it. Just a lot of different options. Comcast definitely seem to have kind of got their hand in, like, we want to do this, but we're also saying in our system. HBO are doing the same thing with their television network of giving you access to it if you're subscribed through their cable and satellite system. So I think we're just seeing this coming through. So Peacock, going to be US only for a while. I mean, over here in the UK, we've got Now TV, which I think is basically what they're going to be basing a lot of this on. I can't see them rebranding Peacock in other countries because the Peacock doesn't mean anything outside of America because the NBC logo doesn't really get used much out there. It would make more sense to be Universal than anything like that outside of the US. But a lot of competition for Disney Plus. I think this is a lot more competition. To me, it's like more of a competition for Hulu, really, of what they're bringing in. And so I'm going to end a little bit there of the Peacock talk, and then just kind of go into a little bit more general stuff of how I think this could affect Disney Plus going forward. One thing I really did notice from this is this definitely seems to be the idea of a single offering, and HBO Max is doing the same thing, and Amazon and Netflix, whereas Disney have kind of got this dual branded Hulu Disney Plus system. And I think it's that question of, can Disney carry on with that dual system, and does it make sense for them, or are they eventually in a couple of years time going to be like, yeah, we just need the one platform? We're going to have to wait and see. But do you think like that with like Hulu, of how like all of these different companies are going to affect that?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just say with things like all these different competitions from being much more general content. Do you think Hulu and Disney Plus are going to have to change what they're doing because of the competition?
Not significantly. I think that
No.
staying in their lane, they've got something that works for them right now.
Yeah.
There's no reason to switch it up. People expect Disney Plus, Hulu to be the way they are. And honestly, changing the way you do business, especially at this early stage for Disney Plus, would probably be seen as kind of blood in the water. Them not having faith in their own system. So maybe down the line, but it would be indistinguishable, which is apparently a hard word to say, from just changing it up based on their own internal metrics that have nothing to do with HBO Max, Netflix, Peacock, any of that.
I do think in some ways by Disney having that separate options, you're going to have that. I think going forward in a couple of years' time, Hulu will become a bigger thing for them to kind of put down the line. The only thing that did come up to me with all of these different ones is how Disney Plus seems to be the only one that's kind of not going for the day in day or day after day idea of putting their content on there that's aired. So like the National Geographic and Disney channels, their content is not airing on Disney Plus for months afterwards. And that's the one weakness I feel like Disney Plus is going, you really could do. It's like this week, we could have done with like the first episode of all those shows that are on National Geographic and Disney Plus to keep bringing people in. Because, be honest, the content on Disney Plus this week, this has really felt we've really felt the lack of having the Mandalorian of just like on Fridays and putting up, this is all the content on there. And it's like, there's not anything big here to pull anybody in. There's nothing, I think had they put on like all the content this week coming from National Geographic and Disney Channel, it would have helped like boost up their numbers of what content is on there. Who's doing it, HBO's doing it, Peacock's doing it. That's the one thing I'm looking at this going, Disney needs to slightly tweak that idea of maybe not keeping everything for a month after it's aired on their network before moving over, because there's a lot of people saying about like the Owl House this week of not being available. And it's like, this feels like out of place compared to what everybody else is doing.
There's probably some internal agreement that they have with the channels to not poach viewers from the television. I think they will reverse this at some point, and we will get not necessarily day and date, but maybe like next day. So it airs on Disney Channel and then it's on Disney Plus the day after. But I'm sure that this is just them going, let's not start a fight with our friends.
Yeah. I think it's going to have to come eventually, because I think, the way that they're losing subscribers over on their main channels, and the kids' channels just drop. It just feels like at the minute there's still a lot of like separation. The Disney Channel is, National Geographic. Even this past week, National Geographic have announced tons of TV shows that are coming to National Geographic Wild, and loads of like shows have been renewed, like Dr. Poe and Dr. Oakley and stuff. But it's still very much along the lines of, these are coming to our channel on this date. Whereas everything else, you're going, when they're going, it's coming to our channel, but it'll be on Hulu the day after. They've still got that kind of thing on there. And I just feels to me at the minute like Disney and these channels haven't quite linked up enough. Maybe they didn't have enough faith in it to like, no, we're still carrying on with our plan. But looking at what all the other streamers are doing, it's like, basically you're going to end up with Disney Channel and the National Geographic Channel being the only one you can't watch content on the day after it's been available.
Yeah, and so I can see it maybe for Disney Channel keeping that gap for a little bit longer, but there's really no good reason for National Geographic to be waiting on the content. The channel, the actual physical channel for National Geographic will always have an audience, but it's nowhere near the level of the major broadcasters, including the Disney Channel. And I feel like anything they can do to make that National Geographic's brand more prominent by getting more content on Disney Plus would have to help them.
Yeah, I just think as a whole, it's just, for me, it's the one thing right now where I see like, come on, that's like, you just need to go to that next level to upgrade your Disney. And I also think of like like this week, if we would be sat in here now talking about what's new on Disney Plus, and we going, well, there was this new show and there's this show, or we had the 4th episode of Dr. Oakley and we had this episode, it's like it would up it at the minute. I mean, they spread out that library content. We had some new shows added on Wednesday. We had things like Wild Russia. We also had Continent 7. So they're adding some of a couple of episodes from a few years ago of some series. They also had like Randy Cunningham and The Lodge from the Disney Channel. And it's like, yeah, this is all really old stuff. It's like, we need newer stuff than what they're putting on there, because it is looking very weak on these weekly drops of. It's like this week. I was just like, yeah, okay. I was just like clicking through them all. It's like, yeah, I want to watch The Runaways and a few other series that I want to watch, but there's nothing been pulling me on to Disney Plus this week. There's so many new shows starting. There's so much new stuff on all the different other networks that I'd much rather watch, especially like me and my wife when we're sat there watching. It's like my wife said to me yesterday, like, okay, well, what's on there new? Well, there is a new show, but I'm not even going to put you through it. It's just along the lines of that was. I said, well, there's a new. I said, like, Timmy Foley is coming up and the rest of it. But my wife is just like, she goes, there's not really been anything on there you've been showing me to watch. I was like, yeah, that says it all, really. There's just The Mandalorian has left this massive gaping hole in the lineup, and now it looks very weak. I'm going to be honest, things like The World According to Jeff Goldblum and Encore, that's not pulling people in. And I mean, it's probably a good moment there to move on to, but Diary of a Future President. Let's get into our reviews on that one. Brand new show. Yeah, I just didn't think much of it. I don't know. What did you think of it?
About the same, honestly. And we've been saying a lot of, this isn't for us, and that it's obviously not. I'm not going to say that on this one, even though it is true, because I think even the target audience is going to be like, what is this? This is very odd.
It's the thing is, I was going into it because the thing of like, okay, so it's about a 12-year-old girl. Okay, fine. And it's a family comedy. Okay. I liked Goldbergs. I liked Malcolm in the Middle. I didn't mind, I think, was it The Middle? There's a few other ones, Young Sheldon. There's a number of big TV series that feature kids. And they are watchable for everybody, and everyone can enjoy it. And there's lots of gags for everybody. And it's a full, normal, what I would call a family can sit down and watch it. And the dad is going to like, everyone in the family can sort of have a little bit of a chuckle with it. This I sort of watched and go, this is not a family comedy. I can't. There's going to be a whole chunk of the family that are going to be like, this is not. It's like the adult side of it felt really like light. There wasn't really a lot of adults in this. I mean, I like the mum and dad, or the mum and the boyfriend. That aspect to the show. And I like the fact they're having an open discussion about her co-worker won't come out to her parents because of their old-fashioned. But I would have much preferred the series just to be about the president now, not about what she was doing. And I was much more interested in her being a president right now than as she was as a 12-year-old, catching her friends not cheating, about lying about having a period. It was just like, what? I was just like, what? I didn't get it. It was just like one of those shows where I was going, this isn't for me. This feels like something that should be on the Disney Channel. This is not general entertainment. This is a certain audience that are going to love this, but this is not big enough to pull in the fill the gap from The Mandalorian. It's not strong enough.
Well, I don't think it was supposed to fill the gap for The Mandalorian. I think the gap for The Mandalorian is Mandalorian season 2 or Obi-Wan or something like that. And Disney knows that. They weren't pitching that. This is that.
Yeah.
But for the show itself, like you said, a lot of the adult stuff, the stuff in the future, I guess it would be, was a bit more interesting. And the problem at the moment, or one of the problems at the moment, is although we know that this girl becomes this woman at some point, there is nothing in this show that really shows that. Now, there is an exception to that. Right at the very end of the show, she has to do a presentation, which she basically has to do off the cuff because she didn't prepare for it properly. And you can see that speech ability, the ability to make a compelling argument on the fly, which is in theory an essential trait for a president or political figure to have. So there's a little bit of that, but the majority of it is just,
Yeah.
Here's a teenage girl having what I presume are teenage girl problems in middle school, and just like,
Yeah.
gay.
Yeah, I think that's the trouble. Is like for me, of like, you know, there's no, and it is that thing. 'Cause, like, I watched the Goldbergs, and I could always relate to Adam because I was a kid, a young boy in the '80s. Everything that he was going through, went through. Exactly what he, and I was, and that's probably why that show has resonated with me as like a really good show that features a kid but has grown up as it's gone along and was fun to watch. And me and my wife would sit there and watch it. Whereas this was just like, this just doesn't connect with me. I know I'm a white British male in my nearly 40s. I don't get it. It doesn't appeal to me. I don't, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I really hope that there's a massive audience and that this show does pick up a thing, because I really, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, I just didn't think much of it. And it's just like, it wasn't meant for me. And I would say, if you haven't watched it, watch it, see what you think of it, have your own opinion, because you might like it. But I mean, I went into High School Musical, the series, wasn't expecting to like it, thought it was going to be a bit too Disney Channel stuff, and was surprised that it wasn't. It was much higher than that. It was a bit more broader. Whereas I went in kind of maybe expecting that, and it kind of went down a bit and going, oh, this just feels like it would have been on the Disney Channel, and it wouldn't have felt out of place on the Disney Channel.
No, and that's probably where it was originally. Well, no, we know that's where it originally was going to end up. I think one of the biggest problems with it right now is that in the setup episode, this might change later, but it really feels like it was designed to push buttons. It was kind of designed to get to cause a bit of controversy. We obviously saw that with the title, which they eventually changed. But a lot of the topics it covers, while important topics, it really felt like they were just kind of there to be like to do a little bit of flag waving. Buzzwords, pitching to a particular audience. And I'm gonna get flamed for this anyway, but the audience that they're aiming with these kind of buzzwords should be older than 12, 13-year-old kids. That shouldn't be one of their primary concerns yet. And I don't know, it's weird. It's kind of, I'm not sure what they expect the audience to be here.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's like, as an international person watching this, is different as well, because you've got that whole political issue in the US, which is why they had to change the name. I mean, I remember putting up articles about, every time I put up an article about this series, they'd be full of, like, because it was Diary of a Female President, it just alienated it. The comments were awful, absolutely awful. And I'm like, I remember watching going, oh, this is like fighting a battle before, already, and it was just like the comment section and the social media stuff was just like, oh my God, this is just this, and then they changed the name, which calmed it all down. Every time I did an article since then, it's never had the response, because anyone just flicking through it isn't triggered by it. I don't know why, and it's that kind of weird thing. Is like, again, because I've lived in a country where I've had female prime ministers and we have a queen which runs the country, I don't have that whole ish. I don't get it. So therefore, it doesn't mean anything, because like, well, yeah, you can, I've had a female prime minister for years. We just had one, and we had, had strong, and so I don't have that whole problem that America has. So therefore, I'm looking at it for a different line, and like this whole thing of being Latino and all the rest of it is like, it doesn't. I don't think it translates very well outside of America as well. That might be another issue. I'm just like, yeah, okay, what's the big deal? Why you make it's like, I know in America it's probably a massive thing of what she's doing, but for maybe outside of us, New Zealand's got a female prime minister. We're not. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I was looking at it. It's just this is just, it feels like, it feels like an America problem that the rest of us don't really have this issue.
In many ways, it's just kind of like raising up that issue of like, oh, look how backwards we are that we have to make such a big deal about a female president or a potential female president. It's like, yeah, it shouldn't be that big a deal. And at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was intentionally named that originally by Disney to kind of get people's hackles up. And That says a lot about America right now, and not many good things,
Yeah.
honestly.
No, I think that's the trouble again. It's like I said, coming into it as an international viewer that's not gone through teenage girl stuff, and I think there's a load of the stuff that is very important. I think it's bringing up lots of good issues, lots of good stuff. I do think there needs to be more discussions about periods, and there's that kind of thing of like, I'll be honest, I remember being 12 years old, and I don't think any of us guys in the class even knew what the hell was going on. We didn't know it was not told to us. We were just, you didn't need to know about it, so you weren't told about it. And I think, that if she does need to be brought up, but to come up with that as a main story point in the first episode was like, okay, you are really pushing buttons here all over the place. Of like you said, of just like, right, we're gonna hit that, and 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 we're gonna get everyone. But you're not gonna get everyone rattled up because those people ain't watching this show. It was, I don't know, it was just like, yeah, I don't know, it was very strange for me. I will watch another episode to see if it kind of changes or if it can, but yeah, this for me was just like, yeah, this is just not. It's not for me. It's not. Okay. As I said in my review, it's not my cup of tea.
So two things. One, I agree. Periods should be demystified completely. There's no reason that they shouldn't be able to talk about them just completely normally. It's absurd in the 21st century that it's still like, it's that women's issue thing. Whatever. They don't have control over it, so it's not thing. Second thought, the only character I really identified with was the boyfriend of the mom.
Yeah.
Because he spends the entire episode just like looking like, what the heck am I doing here, with this very confused expression. I was like, I feel you on that one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like I said, it was. I'm gonna give it another go, but it's not. It just feels, actually, to be honest, like January have just been like a bit like, okay, Disney Plus has not really been hitting out the park this month. I'll be honest. Next month we've got Clone Wars. I know we are getting Lamp Life at the end of the month. And we've got the Short Circuits coming next week. But yeah, just as a whole, I just feel like it's been a bit of a few weeks since The Mandalorian, and yeah, it's just a shame because, in all honesty, right now this show, the Diary of a Future President, should be the flag bearer for Disney Plus right now, and I don't think this show can be.
No, it not for the product as a whole. I mean, there's a specific audience that it's for, and I'm sure it'll be fine with that, just like High School the musical was. But yeah, it's not you need to subscribe to Disney Plus right now to watch Diary of a Future President. No, that's there are very few people who are going to be saying that.
No, and it's like now I'm sitting here and there's not one member of my family or any of my friends I would recommend them to watch this show, and that ultimately is not good. I mean, even like my teenage staff that work for me in real work, in the real life, I wouldn't be telling them to watch this because it's way below their level of just like I wouldn't. Yeah, and that's ultimately. Whereas I could say to somebody, we were having a discussion. I said, "Oh, High School Musical is a lot of fun. Just watch it. When it comes out over here." Yeah, this one's just not going to do that. But if we are wrong and you enjoyed it, let us know in the comments, because I'd love to hear. This is one of the things I would love to hear somebody else's opinion, because I've read a few reviews after I kind of wrote mine and going, "Am I on the same track?" And they're all praising it, and it's like, okay, I just feel like I almost felt like, and then I spoke to you, and I'm like, maybe it was just it wasn't. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, if you agree with us or not.
Civilly, please.
Yeah,
civilly. This is. I realize we're two middle-aged white guys talking about teenage girls and their issues. Totally willing to accept that we're completely wrong on this, but civil. Keep it civil. Yeah, it's that kind of situation. It's just like, we watched it. It's on Disney Plus. We're watching everything that comes onto it, and it's like, unfortunately, not everything we're going to like. But I also, it's an important thing as well, because I've had this said to us, well, you'll like anything that's on Disney Plus. It's like, no, I won't. If we don't like it, we will say it. We won't. We're not going to sugarcoat just because it's on Disney Plus. We don't think everything is
fantastic, and that ultimately is where it's going to go. But moving on from there on to so what was new this week is, we had the episodes of Encore. We had Jeff Goldblum pick of the litter. I did watch the fifth episode of that one. Nice little easy fluffy show. But also we had like we had Antarctica, we had Randy Cunningham, we had some shorts as well, like superheroes and some Muppet Baby shorts and some bits and pieces. So it's nice to see us getting like that midweek drop, because like next week we're getting Bluey. They've kind of spreading out that library content to become almost like a weekly drop, which they've been doing in in January, which I think is definitely an improvement. Had everything just dropped on the 1st of January, it would have been a bit light. But I do appreciate them actually spreading out that library content a lot more than they have been, and not being fun as well. If you're putting 6 to 10 seasons of different shows on, don't put 40 seasons on the day one, because nothing gets anyone's attention then. But there again, we need that just added tab, or the recently added tab, to let people know that this stuff's on there.
Or announcements, just news from Disney going, this is what's coming in, this is what's leaving. Just communication in general from Disney.
They put up this like weird like image, like showing out like some text of what everything that's been added, like on Fridays. And one thing they did add, which was really strange, was High School Musical, the series, got sing-along versions added as a separate season. It's like separately away. And then they added a load of extras for each of the original episodes. And you're like, why wasn't this done at the same time? And then it's like the sing-along versions going, well, most of the episodes have only got like 1 or 2 songs in it. It doesn't really... It's like, could that not have been in the extras? Did it need to have its own separate section? It's like High School Musical now. You go into the originals thing. There's now like 3 of them for the same show, because there's a special. And there's this... It's really stretching at this point. I was trying to fill out that originals section a little bit.
Yeah, this is clearly a hey, look, we've got something entirely new, even though it's a marginal change. It's very similar to them re-releasing Frozen 2 in theaters as a sing-along version there too. Now, granted, there's more music in that, in a compressed format, but still, it's Disney going, let's keep it in people's minds, and also it gives us news, even if it's fluffy, even by Disney standards.
Okay, a couple of quick things before we go off. Nominations: Kickball got nominated for Oscar at the Oscars. They've been nominated for Best Short. So that, I think that was good. There's a lot of nominations for Disney as a whole for like technical awards. Searchlight, I nearly went Fox. Searchlight got a lot of nominations as well. So definitely good from there. But Kickball stood out as the Disney Plus original. Also, in things not so good, The Finest Hours got removed from Disney Plus, again with no notice, no acknowledgement of where it went, no acknowledgement of where it is, no acknowledgement of when it's coming back. Again, Disney just have to fix this, because they have to get a better grip on it, because at the minute everyone is like, like we are all saying, well, this movie's gone, because the minute someone's removed, people are messaging, and it's like, say it's expiring. We did it last night. We went on to Now TV, checked that the Good Doctor when it was expiring. Have we got enough time to watch it before it goes? Do we have to bulk up? I did the same. Went on, saw The Watchmen, saw that it was expiring in like 10 days. Right, no point starting this. It needs to be in there that it's expiring, and also needs to, if you take it away, put a card up or leave it on there and say when it's coming back, or it's temporarily been removed. They can't keep just whipping stuff off and hoping that nobody notices, because it just looks bad. And people are on social media. I mean, the minute this goes up, everyone is just like, they should be adding stuff. They're not adding enough, let alone taking stuff away. And it's like, things get removed. We know that, and we know contracts and all the rest of it, but they've got to be much more open about it.
I think they underestimate how much goodwill you can kind of build up simply by being honest and upfront about these things. Hey, The Finest Hour is going away from Disney Plus. It will be back. Their prior contract obligations. They don't even need the contract. Just, it's coming back at some point. Most people are willing to just oh, all right, we understand, or even if we don't understand, thank you for telling us.
Yeah. It's one of those things, because it's one of those things for Disney Plus where they put up all those movies that are coming to the US in years, because they're, and it says, coming on this date. And there's a bit of an argument of people kind of going, why do they put it on there? I get all excited. I see a movie on there and I click on it and it's not available and it shouldn't be. And then there's the counter argument going, yeah, but they are telling you up front that Maleficent is not going to be on there until October. Flat out just saying it, they put on there like Toy Story 4 is coming February the 5th. But good, put it in there. I mean, I do think it should have a coming soon section so you can kind of see it a little bit easier and it doesn't come up in your search results maybe when you're looking for it in the same way. But they're being open about that, and they're being open about these movies. The thing is, most of those movies are available in other regions, so they're into the system. They're blocked in somewhere, so they're in the Disney Plus filing system, so they've just changed the date. But America seems to be getting hit the worst with the contracts, because of the other, like Australia and Canada and stuff, do not seem to be being hit anywhere near. Well, I've had no reports of a movie being removed from any other country yet, other than I think Adventures in Babysitting got removed from the Netherlands because of a swear word. But generally, no other countries, and it's again all down to existing contracts. And I think there's so many more in play in the US than anywhere else.
Yep, that is definitely what it appears to be, and it's impacting Disney Plus's image. And again, simple amount of transparency. We don't need to see the full details of the contract. We don't need the how much money is involved or anything like. Just a simple announcement stating, yes, we know you're upset. It'll be back. Our hands are tied.
Even just if it said that it's expiring in a week's time or something like that, just so people were a little bit more aware of it, and so they could kind of, and then when it's gone, put up saying it will be back. Even just put, we have a temporary error with this file, it'll be back once we fixed it. I mean, you do kind of think, if it is a technical issue, how long does it take to download and re-upload a video onto your system? Because I know on YouTube and all the rest of it, it doesn't take me a week to get a video down. And it's like, okay, you can have a few days grace, but it's like, if it is a technical issue, how long does it take to fix it? You would think it wouldn't take that long.
I can't actually comment on that, because that involves things that I know about how my company works. But it does seem like it should be a little bit easier.
Yes, I mean, it's like you got the disc with the free digital copy. You just need to move that onto there. That's it. You just really need to download it and re-upload it. But I know it's probably a lot more complicated than that. But in general terms, that's what people are looking at. Going, you've got the movie, you upload another version, you rip it off or do whatever you need to do. It shouldn't be taking weeks to kind of do. But there is probably a lot more involvement in it. But generally, like I said, more transparency, and they need to get on top of this. Because at the minute, people are very confused. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, Peacock announced all these DreamWorks animated shows coming to their system, and then Hulu put out, they come into us as well, and people are going, wait, why are DreamWorks movies, animated series coming on to Hulu when they should be on Peacock? And they are on Peacock, and, all these different contracts and stuff. People are so confused over what's going everywhere at the minute. And, this is going to Netflix for this amount of time and this isn't. And we've got I think probably at least another 2 years of this hobgoblin mess of no one wanting to give up the contract if they've got it, and everyone trying to get back the contract if they haven't got it.
This is kind of the end result of all the years of cross-pollination. And with DreamWorks in particular. I mean, I know a lot of Disney Plus has been messy, but DreamWorks is all over the place, because they've got existing contracts with Netflix, they've got upcoming contracts with Hulu, they've got the NBC deal. I would not want to be a lawyer over in their department, because it's got to be all over the place.
I just have this vision of it's like trying to get hold of your TV shows. It's like a pen full of little animals, and every time you grab one, the other ones run out the pot.
And they're all greased up.
I don't know. It's a mess, and it's going to take a few years to kind of get out, because it's like even down to the Hulu stuff. All the stuff with Fox movies with HBO, and HBO Max and all the rest of it. It's just all they're all just stuck to these contracts, and they've got to buy themselves out of them or wait for them to expire. But that pretty much sums up the entire streaming wars, I think, for 2020. But nevertheless, make sure you do go check us out over at what's on disneyplus.com to keep up with all the latest. So join our Disney Plus Facebook group. You can also follow us on social medias, etc., etc. We'll be back next week with another episode, and we shall see you guys in another video. Later.